Okay, guys, just catching you up on a task that got added to get this thing ready to start up. As I showed already, the oil just had this scum in the bottom that wasn't really showing up on the dipstick, so that was kind of a surprise. Maybe it shouldn't have been. So if you're restoring these old cars that have been sitting for, this one's 45 years-ish, might want to pull these oil pans, make sure you know what you got in there. But so anyway, getting ready to pull the oil pan here. I dropped this one's got power steering, so I dropped all that linkage, disconnected it right there at the tie rod end on both sides, on the frame mount on the passenger side there, and at the pitman arm here on the steering, and just letting that dangle out of the way. And right now I'm getting ready to loosen up the oil pump here, or not the oil pump, but the pipe, the pickup tube. So this I'm going to loosen up at the oil pump, and there's a seal in there that just needs to be undone, and then this fitting right here then needs to be loosened, and then take off all the, of course, bolts that are holding the pan in, and then in theory we can wiggle her out of there. I'm not sure if I'll have to do anything with the crankshaft position there. On some cars I know it has to be in number one top dead center. It did not say that in the manual on this car, so this is a 57 T-Bird with 312, so we'll see if that's the case or not on this one. But I need two hands again, so, but I did want to go ahead and get this documented, what's going on here. Oh, and this thing is just a disaster underneath with stuff. I mean, you're seeing an actual red oil pan there. The stuff I scraped off there was an easy 1/4 inch thick. Yeah, maybe you can see that back there. I mean, the thing's amazing for being rust free, you know, even inner rockers and things like that, but there's just this coating of so I was actually hoping to be able to start this up, drive it out into the driveway, and power wash the living daylights out of it, but I'm going to have to pause on that while we take care of this muck issue. I don't want to pick all that stuff up into the pickup. All right, more to come. Guys, just got the oil pan off. Should have done it to start with, but ended up taking the dust shield off of the flywheel there, so nice good view into there. That all looks in good shape. I haven't spun it around or anything, and can get a good look underneath. I mean, this hasn't turned, well, I take it back. It hadn't turned in 45 years since I got it freed up. It's turned, but the hasn't been run, it's just been turned by hand. So definitely, you know, you can see some darker deposits and things like that, stuff that should clean up after we get some good flushing action. But I don't see any pieces. I haven't gone through the oil pan yet. There's the dipstick hanging innocently down still, not indicating to me that we had a bunch of sludge in here. You can get a couple of peeks at the camshaft. The cams look okay. Always intrigued by what gets paint on it and what doesn't. I'm not sure what other process changes that, but you know, you got obviously the connecting rod there that got red paint. Okay. And the timing chain definitely has a little bit of sludge buildup up there too. Well, just dirty deposits again, stuff I expect to clean up after an oil change or two. So that's that. We might be top dead center on number one. I didn't put it there intentionally, at least recently, but I have had it there on occasions. I did not have to make any changes on the crankshaft position to get this thing out. Once I got the dust shield out, then she came right out. Now we can see, almost, what was going on inside. See, really Nothing up front I would have worried about that wouldn't have cleaned up. A little bit of deposits there in the back. Looks like, yeah, just soft mushy stuff. I'll run a magnet through here in a minute. But here, I had some gelatin going on that we did not want in this pickup tube. So very glad I pulled it. It was a pain in the butt that I didn't want to have to do. And I had swept this out right before starting to pull the pan, so you can see how much just crap fell. And I'd already removed a lot, but so that's what's in my teeth right now pretty much. But yeah, you can see these nasty sludgy stuff that was not a good idea to do a startup on. So like I said, glad I did the work, and yeah, I guess I just put it out there that if you've got a car that's been sitting for quite some time, even if the dipstick looks clean, you might want to go ahead and do this so this garbage isn't going through your system. I mean, that's like Jello. Alrighty, got a little task ahead of me to clean everything up and get it ready to put back together, but I'll show you guys when it's cleaned up. So just cleaning out this oil sump, and I've actually already been cleaning it. You can see what was inside this thing. So yeah, we would have never gotten oil to the engine if I had started it up without pulling this oil pan off. Like I said, I've already been cleaning it. That was 100% blocked, basically. So we'll keep at it. All right, guys, and with a bit of a labor of love, this thing is nice and clean now. I mean, and she was baked. What ended up kind of working for the last tough bits that were in that screen to get out was actually taking a steel brush and just kind of rubbing it along, not rubbing it, but like rolling it to poke in there. And I'd find a spot that was blocked up still, and sorry for the finger there. Roll this across it, and those steel bristles would poke out that oil a little bit. So that was what I used to get the last stubborn bit of it, along with a general cleanup with brake cleaner and stuff like that. And then before I did that, then sandblasted the oil pan that's got a coat of primer on it. The dust shield's got a coat of primer on it, and the pickup, just the tube portion, and the two nuts associated with that have a coat of primer, so those will get some red tomorrow. So guys, I was thinking it might be worth having a word on gasket prep while we're in here. Getting ready to redo this oil pan. This back piece where the rear main seal is, that's aluminum, so I'm pretty careful around that. What I use is just a razor scraper on that, and just very carefully, because you can definitely gouge that aluminum obviously pretty easily. And what I used on the rest of this, and I think these tools are kind of worthwhile. Don't have to get it from, I think this one's Snap-on, so you don't have to get it from them, but this, get this cover off. It's definitely worthwhile having a stout scraper with this carbide tip on it. This thing definitely cleans better and more. If I've used the razor ones before, you know, much more stout than the one I just showed you, but this thing's way better than those at getting this stuff off with that nice sharp tip on it. It's like a machined edge. So I did the rest of this with that. A lot of times I'll use an angle grinder with abrasive pad on it too. When I get to engine internals like this, sometimes I don't like doing that, and just there's a little bit too much stuff that get airborne that I don't necessarily want in my crankcase. So anyway, did this one with that scraper, and then you can see the seam right there where the timing cover is, and on the other side, those two spots and these two spots where there's a seam at that rear main seal. We'll get a dab of RTV when I put this back together. But that's it. Haven't cleaned this off with brake fluid or anything yet, but just finished scraping it. Well, since we had that sludgy issue in the oil pan, I decided I should at least do a couple of spot checks in the crankcase here. So pulled a main, crankshaft looks really, really good. And I don't know how well you can see in there, but the I don't think I'm gonna get an angle where you can actually see in it, but the hole for the lube is quite good too for the oil gallery. So that's good. And then the journal bearing. Looking good also. Looking really good actually. I'm not sure how well that's going to show up on camera, but nice oil film in there. Actually decent oil in there. Not sure how that happened. And journal bearing itself looks really good as well. No wear through or anything. Okay guys, pretty happy with how the oil pan and everything has turned out. Right now I've got the gasket adhesive on there and just holding that in place. It's been sitting there for a little bit, so it's pretty decently dry. Cleaned out that oil sump real good with that screen. Everything painted. Take those back. Pan looking pretty good. So, like I said, pretty pleased with how all that came out. That was sandblasted, primed, and then 3 coats of the color coat. One thing to take note, where this oil pickup tube goes into the oil pan. When I was looking through the manual on the conventional car and Interceptor, it's showing a copper washer. On the Thunderbird, it's showing the different inlet tube. It's not calling out a copper washer. I'm putting the copper washer in there anyway. I don't really see how it can hurt anything for sure. And then there's a new plastic sleeve on there as well. So I think that should be fun. Anyway, get ready to put her on it right now.